Good morning, everyone. It is Throat Punch Thursday, November 4th, and this is your watch list. Doesn't really feel like a throat punch at the moment, but we'll see if we get some profit taking and overall pullback here as we move forward. We new highs in the overnight session, and if we open up here, we will put in new highs on the SPY as well. Yesterday, we hit new highs. All except the IWM, but continue to make new highs. And that came after, and I want to take a quick look at this. This is something that happens a lot. We talk about it a lot in the room, but if you're not in the room, it's something to really be aware of in your trading, especially on FOMC days. So why is FOMC days, why are they so important? Well, FOMC days are the days that they decide rate cuts, and oftentimes we kind of know that. It's kind of baked in. But we are talking about tapering, inflation, what are they going to do? So a lot of times we're like, okay, we wait around all day for FOMC, and we're like, oh, that is so boring. It can be terribly boring days to trade. Yesterday was not that case. So we came into yesterday, and we're like, okay, yeah, we're kind of hanging out. Oh, this is boring. Oh, my gosh, we need some toothpicks to keep our eyes open. Who has the coffee? And then they dropped the announcement. So they dropped that the Fed rates are unchanged. That comes in at 2 p.m. Eastern on FOMC days. That we expected. All right. And then the press conference began, and they dropped the changed or unchanged on the interest rate and what it'll be. And then they come in and they drop some of the notes from the prepared speech that comes out, and then follow-on questions. Okay, so they dropped it. And what did they come out with? They are not looking at a rate hike. The market had started pricing in a rate hike next year, and they've pushed that off. And then we knew about the taper, but they're actually doing it just a little bit slower than I think most of the market, most of the analysts had priced in.
Coming up at 8:30.
So that's what this happened. Now, they dropped the rate, boom, or they didn't drop they didn't change the rate. They didn't raise the rate. That's what I'm trying to say. Boom, we moved up, and then we're like, okay, starting to digest. This is very common. We get the Fed flip-flop. That's what we're going to call it, because we get the initial move, and then we get a counter move. And then we get the rest of it. And this is very common. Now, if we start out, now this is not like a holy grail. This happens every single time. It just seems to happen very often. The initial move, we get a counter move right off it. So if this had been the opposite, hey, watch this, something fun you can do in your TOS charts. This is Thinkorswim. If you put a negative in front of it, watch. Boom. Okay, so there you go. You're looking at the flip of the chart. So if this was the Fed day and they had announced a rate change and they were going to raise them yesterday, which would have really actually thrown everything off, this is probably the move we would have gotten, right? So the initial move down, okay, a little bit up. This turns into a bear flag, and there we go. So that wasn't the case. We knew they weren't going to change the rates. It really was all about the taper, their messaging on inflation, and the guidance for a rate change when that is looking like coming. Honestly, I always feel like they shouldn't say that part. Just say that they're not giving it now and potentially not in the next meeting, because they, obviously we have these meetings nearly every month. But I think they're constantly moving that goalpost, and I'm just not sure to what end. Because they come in and say that they'll raise it as they monitor the situation, and then they'll raise it accordingly. Well, okay, that's what you're going to do. Just stop guiding for it. But you know what? Hey, I'm not in the Fed, and they don't care what I think, and no one called me to ask, so there we go. Okay, yep, that's my spiel. At least on that. Another thing real quick, please, if you are in the chat room and you're posting your trades, if you don't post your entry when you enter, don't post your exit. So like at the end of the trade, if it's worked out well and you're like, hey, I entered here and exited here, well, that doesn't actually help anybody. Other people are really trying to learn from everybody in the community, and that's exactly what we are. We're a family. We're kind of a wackadoodle family. That's totally okay. But we're trying to learn from one another. And if you're playing something good, bad, indifferent, share it. But if you don't feel comfortable sharing the entry, please don't share the exit either. And you can even say, hey, I'm looking at this, get some feedback. Maybe some other people will look at it and be like, oh, hey, yeah, that looks good. Or, oh, no, I don't like it for this reason. That's the whole point of learning together. Okay, but here we go. Let's hop into some charts. Oh, my goodness. AMD. NVIDIA, both these. So going into this session, it looks like the Qs are going to be up. These have been very strong. We do have earnings coming up on NVIDIA. We're over in AMD. NVIDIA, I like the 270s. And AMD, I like the 130s. I know, I played this and ended up not doing nearly as great as I could have. Some of you held in there a lot longer and played, you know, added to it when it was down a little bit. Well, here you go. AMD, NVIDIA continuing to do well. One that doesn't normally make my list. Walmart, I know. Nate's going to be like, Walmart's trash. Yeah, okay, yeah, probably. But look at this, right? Bull flag coming up, taking a nice little rest here. I like the little box it's in. I have this trend line drawn in from these wicks before. Yep, anything over, I would actually say 150, not even 150.20. I would say at 150, moving into those earnings. I like the look of Walmart at 150 or 155. Both those look really good, actually. Okay, one that was on the list yesterday, Chewy. It came in and actually started to perform well and then pulled back, but still hanging here above the 50. I like this still for a reversal. And we'll see, this looks like it is a potential bull flag here on the daily. Still watching Chewy and still watching the 75s. These are all in December. I'm giving you a strike, and then you can decide where you want to place your bets on that. This is where I like it. Coin, one I was watching yesterday as well. I had to be out yesterday afternoon, and I'm going to be out all next week, so I'll be pretty light on what I take. But I'll continue to call them out in the room when I see them. Coin here, a little bit of a pullback this morning with Bitcoin, but keep an eye on this. I like this if it comes back up over 344.50. And in coin, I like the 350s. All right, we talked about solar yesterday. Oop, come here, let's try that again. ENPH, one of these, it inside candle here, nice open window. Watch for these to catch a bid here. ENPH at 240 and JKS. I didn't really care for mine as much, but look at JKS. Beautiful reversal, came pretty close to that 50. We talked about it in the room yesterday as it moved back, as it moved up above the 20, looking to test that fib line, which happens to coincide that this is the fib line. Remember, fibs don't lie. Get it? Fibs don't lie. It's funny. Okay, this fib line here, and this is also where we stopped 2 days ago, 56.86. So really anything over 56.90 or over yesterday's close, which comes in a little earlier, a little bit more aggressive, the JKS 55. All right, let's take a look at some of those vehicles. This was actually, these were on the watch list yesterday too. I really like the EV space. Took another break. Attempted a reversal, didn't make it here in XBEV, but I like XBEV 50s. NEO, however, did close green, closed window, touched the 200, anything over the 200 there, I like it at the 45s. And so we'll go ahead and talk about Tesla. And I don't know what to say about Tesla. It is on the move again this morning. A lot of 1250s were hit and 1300s in Tesla in sweeps. So these are ridiculously expensive. So I don't normally I'll call out the levels all day long. I don't normally trade it, but wow, Tesla, I'm just not even sure what to say about it. Okay, so, well, if you have electric vehicles, let's take a look at how you're going to charge them. I still like plug and bleed. I really like these much longer term because they are going to be part of the overall infrastructure of getting those EVs out. And plug here does have earnings coming up, so a day trade in here only, but I like plug and blink. And I would take these just in the money. Blink has, I think, an extra day before earnings here, but Blink, both of those looking pretty darn good. Stepping over into some financials. Financials were doing pretty well yesterday. We have earnings coming up as a nice little catalyst. I like AFRM, anything over the 162.70 mark. And I would take these a little bit shorter because we do have those earnings. The 160 SoFi. We've traded this one here recently. Paid out really well. Again, earnings coming up. Did really well yesterday. We had a nice run up before pulling back in. Anything over yesterday's close actually is where I like this one. And that close came in at 22.96. Or you can say, hey, the 23 mark. SoFi, 22.50s. I still like the 22.50s in that. Nike, talked about this one the last couple days. It just gapped and continued on here. Looking for a test of that 174.38. Take a look at the 175s. And Lulu, I didn't find any options I like on it, but I love this little consolidation, this little flag we have going here in Lulu. So take a look at that one. And Netflix. Michelle called out Netflix yesterday, caught a great play on it. She took 2 pieces out. See, really smart. She took some profits early and then allowed her the remaining half to run and closed it out for a very nice profit. Great job for calling it out in the room. Hopefully other people did catch that with her. But beautiful look in Netflix, looking for a break of that 690. I like the 700s on this. We are past earnings, so we don't have to worry about that. And lastly, Datadog. Still like Datadog. I know this thing has, like, it is so finicky. Oh my goodness. But I like this pullback. We ended up leveling out with this green candle on that gap. That gap's filled, but we still use that gap level here. So take a look at Datadog for a reversal here today at the 170s. Okay, that is it for me today. I hope you have an awesome day. If you have any questions, reach out, heatherc@givingtreetrading.com. Remember, I won't be here at all next week. I'll try to message in if I see some stuff, but overall, I will be out for all of next week. So if you have any questions, be sure to get them into me. I will see you soon.